It's like one of those things where you kind of get retouched back into your roots, you know? So it's kind of a blast from the past type thing, but with a modern kind of feel to it. So let's talk blades, everybody. That's what we're into today. Got for you guys 6-inch cold steel Ti-Lite. And I'm kind of reluctant having this. Ever since my little mugging happened, I'm kind of double thinking about what I should start carrying, especially now with the rise in crime, and especially with going on with all the holiday looting that's been going on. If you guys haven't heard of that on the news, I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff, but what I am going to be talking about is having a little bit more of a situational awareness type thing. And that's what this kind of blade reminds me of. This is a blade that's designed in a martial sense to try and, be more focused on the self-defense application, or of it being designed more towards a weapon than a tool. So, cold steel, Ti-Lite. We all know the Ti-Lite. Now, this is something that I used to carry around with me all the time. Not this particular one, but a much older, more original version of the 4-inch Ti-Lite with the Zytel handle. And of course, I got a little collection of that. I have one in aluminum and have one in G10, and the G10 version's got the carpenter steel, and the aluminum version is like some special, I don't know what it is, S30VN. I know it's not the S35. Maybe it is. But this was more of a recent purchase. Now, you guys have seen my other Ti-Lite videos, especially the 6-inch versions that I have. The original with the Zytel handle, that's a 6-inch with the AUS 8, I believe. AUS 8 or AUS 10 steel. I think it's AUS 8 because it's pretty old. And then the more current before this one would be the Chris styled knife, the one that's all wavy, the wavy pattern on there. So that's already kind of a creepy knife as it is. But I decided to get this one only because I'm really curious about it. This one's aluminum with the S35VN steel. So it says it right there, 6-inch CPM S35VN. It's got all the specs right there. That's a little bit cheating. And of course, cold steel packaging hasn't changed. You got the cold steel emblem here, which I think is still weird that they put anytime, anywhere, when it used to be cold steel, world's sharpest knives, something like that. So, a little bit strange. And of course, this is their warranty information. That doesn't come with anything inside the box other than the bubble wrap for the knife. So this is practically trash. Nothing that's really important. Just their basic stuff. Bare bones, just a box. So, and here's the knife. So, upon first inspection, this thing weighs a ton. Coming in at 9 ounces, I think it's coming in a little bit over 9 ounces because it feels like it's more than 9 ounces, but I could be wrong. It could be under 9 ounces for all I know. All I know is that this thing is gargantuan beast. And yes, it's still as sharp as ever. The package that it came in, I cut it open, I cut it, sliced it, stabbed it, and every time it just performed like a good old cold steel, just melting through it like a hot knife through butter, basically. And this kind of knife, even though I can't really get it completely in frame, is one of those touchdowns for a martial background kind of knife. The only thing I have to say is that the grip is a little bit funky on this, because it doesn't have the original Zytel grip on here with the texturing, so I'm not really used to the aluminum style, although I did get my dad one that was it's older aluminum style, way back in the day when I first started getting into cold steel. And that one still has the AUS 8 or AUS 10 steel on it. I believe it's AUS 8 because they didn't start using AUS 10 until just recently. Still a great knife. Really big. just gargantuan, but the grip was a little bit better because there was a little bit more texture on the plastic. Now the pattern here has changed, so instead of ovals or these vertical lines, now we got circles. So that does aid in the grip, I gotta say. It's a very interesting grip. It's literally a pocket sword. This freaking thing is no nonsense. You pull it out your pocket. it's an intimidation factor, 100%. Now the price tag on these things, like I said, I hate giving out price tags on my videos. I always make me cringe every single time because I'm not trying to sell the damn item, but everybody wants to know details, right? Details, details, details. Tell me where I can buy it. Tell me how much it is. Go on Blade HQ. I'm pretty sure Amazon might have some here and there. It's a hit and miss with Amazon, so I'd probably go Blade HQ. Or just anywhere, really. White Mountain Knives. Knives ship free. There's a few places. You can just look it up. Just type it in Google. If you're really, really desperate in getting one, I know Blade HQ still has them on pretty decent. But this one's on sale. Apparently, it's $120. When I purchased it, it was $135. So, and that's still the fact that it's, you know, based around an MSRP of $200 for this bad boy. Excuse me, I'm still getting over a little bit of a ailment right now, so if I sound a little weird, or if I'm clearing my throat, or if I'm coughing ever so slightly, please just bear with me. Now this type of knife is a complete throwback to the original design of the original Ti-Lite, but now they put Ti-Lite, and then, you know, they have a number here, which basically means that this thing has evolved a good handful of times before it got to its more current setup, which it is right now. So, of course, you can still see it on there. Cold Steel Taiwan S35VN blade steel. The quillions on these they don't stick out like they used to, so they've kind of narrowed them down a little bit. So I've learned that when you try to wave this out of your pocket, it's a two-step process because the handle is 7 inches. So when you pull it out, you basically have to free your pocket clip from the pocket. So when you slide it out, you have to slide it, but you have to have grip on this. So when you slide it, you pull this free from your pocket first, slide it down to where it hits the quillion on your pocket, then wave it out. If you try to do it all in one, I've noticed that the grip on this thing can seem like it's slipping, and you might end up in a really funky position, or you might end up opening it up just ever so slightly like this. And I've actually sliced my finger open. You can see the cut right there. And that was just from me trying to wave it out the pocket in one go instead of doing it in a 2-portion set like I just tried showing you right now. Practicing with it, like I said, it's been a very long time since I've carried anything this huge. Am I going to EDC this? I'm probably going to for a little while, only because of more recent happenings, and I think that this would be kind of a confidence booster for me in any ways. I already know, and I've already been trained in knowing how to use a regular sized pocket knife in self-defense applications, so now using a bigger one I think is going to give me kind of a more decent edge. But alongside this knife, I'm going to be carrying pepper spray. That's just something that, a police officer suggested. I'm not a pepper spray guy, even though I've been trained in using pepper spray. I already know how to use pepper spray. I don't know, I just always thought of pepper spray kind of like the lamest thing, but it is very, very effective. I've seen endless videos on how effective it actually is without having to pull a weapon, and it works. It really does. Although it's lame, it is very, very effective. It helps keep distance between you and your attacker, for one. 2, it gives you a chance to get the hell out of there so that way you don't have to pull a weapon, knife, gun, or otherwise. And 3, someone pointed it out, it was really a good fact that pepper spray can actually aid in having a little bit of fun. You can actually see it as a more satisfying thing than stabbing somebody or even shooting somebody. And that came out of a law enforcement officer's mouth when he told me that. He goes, I think it's more satisfying using my pepper spray than it is pulling my weapon. And I was like, really? You think so? And he goes, oh yeah, dude, you've ever sprayed somebody with a squirt gun? I mean, it's just as fun. but you know, it kind of eases the tension in the situation, I guess is what his point was. He was trying to let me know that it's a less than lethal approach, and there's a lot less ramifications to it and consequences. Because, you know, if you try to use a knife on somebody, whether it's through, you know, pure self-defense or not, that's going to have way more consequences than good old pepper spray. And so he had a lot of good points, and it kind of turned me on into carrying around at least a decent sized can, not like a huge, you know, economy size spray, you know. It's just this regular size, kind of like a throw it in your back pocket. It's not a keychain size at all. It's just like a normal fist size. It's got a little belt clip thing on it. Anyways, this is going to be my secondary, obviously. My first weapon of choice would be my pepper spray, and then my second would be this folding spear. So, and because of the fact that I'm choosing to do this, you know, this is kind of, not only is it big, it's also got some weight to it. But I've actually carried it around in my pocket recently, and it actually doesn't feel too bad. It kind of reminds me of just, you know, I think the Espada would be way more uncomfortable than to carry than this. But anyways, we'll get into the specs now that I've said my piece about this gargantuan pocket sword. Although I have so much more to say about it, and I really do find this thing very satisfying. If you have the pocket space and the weight, I mean, if you just carry your normal EDC stuff like your wallet, your watch, your phone, your keys, your knife, it's not going to weigh that, you know, it's not going to weigh that much in the pocket. 9.13 ounces. Holy freaking crackerjack. That's a lot. That's huge. I know it's only 4 ounces more than 5. I mean, come on. Yeah. I know. 5 ounces, 4 or 5 ounces is kind of like the sweet spot. 9 ounces, holy hell. So I'm going to get into the measurement of this. I'm going to do my very best to try and keep it in frame. You can still see the tip at the top over here, so I'm going to try and keep all of this in frame. This thing is huge. It's over a foot long. I think 13 inches. Yeah, exactly. A little bit over 13 inches. No, it's right at 13. 13 inches. Over a foot long, because a foot is like right here. And of course that takes off about an inch right there. So yeah, 13. That's a big ass knife. I'm not used to doing that. I was going to carry one of my, you know, smaller knives. I was planning on carrying one of my Emersons. And either you love them or you hate them. I've already done a video on them. They have 0 detent. It's made for, you know, the gimmick of having the wave feature on it. And they're great knives. They really are. They're ultra grippy, but they're pocket shredders. There's a whole bunch of bad that outweighs the good, but they are designed for fighting. And they're just a little bit shorter. You know, they're just under, like a hair under 4 inches. And a lot of people like them, and a lot of people don't. So, anyways, back to this knife. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out the calipers so you guys can see how wide things are. This freaking pocket sword. Now, the extra large Espada, now that's a pocket sword. 21.5 on the thickest part of the swell right here. If you can see that, it's kind of like an oval on this side, and then it goes and does the same thing on that side. So at the swell, 21.5, I think it was. And then on the blade, you're looking at a 4.9 at its thickest point. So yeah, this thing is, you know, it's got some size, it's got some girth, it's got some thickness in places where it's proper. Now I've seen a lot of people sharpen this other side right here. I'm not going to do that. I like to keep it as legal as possible to carry this thing. And what's really funny is that they don't call it like a spear point or anything. They call it a bayonet style blade, which is the first time I've ever actually heard of that phrase being coined. No, I should say the second time I've heard that phrase being coined. In the description of how this blade would be. It's like a bayonet type of. Okay, yeah, all right. So it's not, stiletto, I guess, because if they put it under stiletto, then that's, that raises all kinds of red flags and legality issues. Because, stiletto knives are very illegal, at least in the state that I'm in right now. But I've been keeping my ear to the ground, and crime rate has been going up here where I live, especially with, the recent happenings. And the city that I'm living in isn't the safest city. I've even heard a police officer tell me that it's not the safest city, and it wasn't. It used to be safer, he said, about 5 years ago. And then the crime rate doubled, almost even tripled. And with everything going on, and I know you guys have heard it, you guys have had to have heard it at some point. Crime rate's just not, getting any better right now. And in fact, it's only getting worse. So I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole nother subject. But this is more motivation for me to purchase this particular knife and just to have that little extra. Because if a little knife scared somebody, then this is a great scare tactic. Maybe even an intimidation thing, but I wouldn't pull this unless my life depended on it because of how huge this thing is. But that's the thing. I don't want to ever have to pull something like this, but I know that it'll help me, or at least protect me in a sense. Because I'm not going to be walking around with a gun on me. That's not going to happen, at least not legally anyways. And I don't want to have any kind of anything on me on that, because that's a whole nother area of something that I really don't want to be a part of. Being a proud gun owner, doesn't mean, I don't really like guns too much. I do appreciate a firearm, but I've always loved blades. I've always had a background in martial arts using blades and folding knives and stuff like that. So this is more rooted to what I'm familiar with using. Although this can't compare to a gun, it is something. And alongside pepper spray, it's more than adequate for self-defense carry. EDC bump up, I guess is what I want to call it. But yeah, this is a fantastic knife. The Ti-Lite, I used to carry the original with the Zytel, like I said before. I used to carry the Zytel one a lot, and I used to get crap from my friends. I remember I went to a Big Five with one of my buddies, and he's like, "Oh man, I can't wait to go look at some knives." And we always go to we do this. We used to do this back when I was younger. We used to go to Big Five to check out some stuff and probably bring home some new toys, some new knives and stuff that we would see, that we would kind of Google over. And if we had money for it, then we would get it. And he's asking me, he's like, "So what are you carrying today, man?" And I busted out the old original style Zytel OS 8, 6-inch, the same size as this. And he's like, "What the heck are you carrying that around for? What's that? That's like Shaq's knife." That's what he called it, Shaq's knife, because this thing was so huge. And it still is. And it made me laugh because he's like, "Dude, you don't even need to buy any more knives, because that knife is going to like blow other knives out of the water." And it technically is. This is one of those like top-notch knives to me. And I know this knife is kind of breaking the $100 standpoint. But one thing that you have to remember is if it works for you, it works for you. If it's something that you're going to enjoy, then there's no issue in carrying it, especially if you're able to carry it. Now, that kind of falls in the parameters of whether or not you're willing to carry something this huge. Now, I have the experience in carrying this big boy. I've cut myself almost a few times on something like this in the past with others. I've stabbed myself in the leg with just the regular cold steel espada. I guess when I pulled it out of my pocket, I guess it got hung up on the pocket with the little wave thump plate, and I stabbed myself in the leg. It's just a little, like a 1/2 inch, but it bled, dude. It bled for forever. It just kept going. So something like this, you just have to be aware of its size, be very careful with it, practice with it. And if you can buy something that's similar to it that you can practice so you don't hurt yourself, I suggest it. But this is a great novelty item if you're just in it for the collecting. But it is fantastic to use for self-defense because that's exactly what it's for. It's a martial background blade. So if this interests you, go ahead and look it up. Like I said, Blade HQ still has it, the Cold Steel Ti-Lite 6-inch. That means 6-inch blade. It's gargantuan. It's way over 4 inches. And a lot of people don't really feel comfortable carrying around a 4-inch blade. So, like I said, good stuff all around. Check it out if you're interested in it, but just know that you're going to spend a little bit if you really want it. There's other different styles. You know, they got other flavors. One in G10, same thing, just blacked out blade. So same material, blade material. They got the shorter stuff, 4-inch blades, aluminum handle, S35VN. They also got the cheaper version with the Zytel handles in both sizes, 4-inch and 6-inch, and their cheaper blade steels and stuff like that. So if you're interested in it, go ahead and check it out. Cold Steel still makes a fantastic Ti-Lite. So go ahead and slash that like button, stab the subscribe, slice that bell icon so you guys are notified anytime I post new stuff. And in these crazy, horrible times, everybody please be kind, be safe, carry responsibly, and I'll see you all awesome people in the next video.